Cool. I love all of those great stories, and I think all of that makes me think of course, creativity, which is the main thing we're talking about in this podcast. And how do you stay creative throughout so many different projects, throughout so many different things? Do you get a creative burnout? Do you get tired? Do you have what they call creative block? Or do you just find creativity in everything in life? Do you like the fact that you're moving from one project to another all the time and they're so different? I think both of you do that. I do that as well. When you start your own production company and when you offer so many different services like we do, photography, videography, filmmaking, screenwriting, editing, you're handling a lot of different clients and a lot of different kinds of projects. And sometimes it can be overwhelming for a lot of people. But for others, I think it's inspiring and it's good. If you guys want to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think it's staying creative is definitely important, because when you first start this, it feels like a hobby. It feels like something you're passionate about. It feels like something you want to do until you start getting paid. The moment you start getting paid, it's still fun. It's still great, but you have to, make sure you give something professional to your client. Couple years of that, and now you have so many things you have to take care of that sometimes you don't see as creatively as you used to, because you have to make sure, back then you just go and just pick up a camera and go shooting. Now you go in with a shot list, with pre-production, with a bunch of people, with this and that. And sometimes you get to that flow and then you're not really thinking creatively anymore. You're thinking a bit as a job. And sometimes, it is what it is. I think it's always good to kind of let yourself know, take a step back and enjoy what you're doing. And also have a team that can let you do things that you enjoy doing more and let them have responsibilities that you don't want to be doing. I do a lot of editing. When I don't want to be doing edits, I have people I can just send those edits to, because editing takes so much time and I don't find it as fun as going out to go do a video shoot. So that's one way I like to stay in the mindset of, staying creative, because editing drains me. So, doing more what you like and putting yourself in positions that you can do things that you like can also always help you stay creative. And also, if you're not getting paid, you can still go out and do some shoots. The moment you start getting paid, you start thinking like, oh, look how much I'm valued. I'm valued this amount of money because this person's paying me this amount for a day. And then you start losing the aspect of like, I want to shoot just to shoot. Let's say someone goes like, hey, can you shoot something for me? The first thing you think of, oh, how much money do you have? How much this? How much that? It shouldn't always be like that. You should make your money. You should, pay your bills, but you should also go and set up time to still do it creatively. Still do it kind of like a hobby. Still do it to kind of grow your craft and grow your knowledge of what you're doing as something that's fun. Something I do is spec ads. I like to do spec ads when I have free time. If I have time in a month, I go plan out a spec ad and we go and shoot something fun. Something we haven't shot in a while, something brand new, something with a good idea. And then that kind of refreshes and it makes me feel like how I felt when I first started doing filmmaking. So there's plenty of ways to do it, and I don't think you should, if you go in this career, you're trying to get out of that 9-to-5 mindset. So I think letting yourself know and taking a step back and taking a look at the bigger picture can help you not be in that mindset and not be stuck doing projects you don't want to do for the rest of your life, at least.
He just made me think of a couple of things, but I want to hear you talk about it too, Val.
Well, I don't know. I feel like, again, creativity is like a muscle, and I enjoy to put it in different situations. I feel like going back to that time period where I was super new in this country, I was studying, I didn't speak well English and all that, I could feel limited and not so much creative because I had bills to pay. I was 18. There's a lot going on, but I have a full priority for having that time for me. And I feel like one of the things that kept me creative was Instagram for some reason. like I use a lot stories to just have that practice of, oh, let me show people something different. And whether it's like a little plant or a shot with a song, or like I would just take a picture and do a lot of like with the little markers, and it just for social media, yeah, maybe. But from there, I start getting from people saying, "Oh, your stories are always so creative. Oh, this is so cool." And it was like such a small part of me, because like I will be doing homework, delivering pizza, and like Instagram would be like a method to, just not be too busy with life and still create stuff. So that was kind of one of the ways I could maintain this thing rolling. Because yeah, when let's be real, like you go through life with your career as well, and sometimes your life is like a little a little too crazy, and probably you have to work more than you should, and especially when you don't live out of what you do, like that. I think that's like the barrier right there. It's like, yeah, I cannot spend that much time doing this because I don't get paid for it. But like I never had that mindset. I was like, let me create this because this makes me happy, and the rest of the life is, I don't know, I'll figure it out, like that's kind of the way I keep being creative. And also with time I started try to move to other expressions, like I started doing collage, like this one over here, and the one behind here, it was like an actual piece I painted. And I never considered myself as an artist that can paint and draw perfect, but then just the discipline of like just sitting there and doing little things and being like, this could be add this and that, like it just like makes me feel happy. So I guess creativity is like really linked to my happiness. And the way I could express it, even if it's like a media art, or just a story on Instagram, or even the way I cook. Sometimes I'm like, I have this in my fridge, and I'm like, okay, what am I gonna do? And I get creative and I make like a whole meal out of like the things I have in my fridge, and it's delicious. I enjoy it, and it's like, yeah, I mean, like I feel like even gastronomy, you can put your creativity to work a lot and be like, yeah, I like this flavor, I like this texture, this and that, and then you end up with a whole meal. So I feel like you can see the same pattern in many things you can create. And the way I keep rehearsing is that it's like not being afraid of like putting in practice in different like situations, but still having an outcome that I like, that I enjoy, that like give me a fun time.
I love how different the answers were. I think people watching us are going to relate a little bit more to what Emmanuel said, a little bit more about to what Val said. And I really mean this. It's a field that really, for everyone that loves it, for everyone that has that passion, you're able to do it. You're able to create stuff, and it's gonna take time. And like Emmanuel said, in the beginning, a lot of people just do a lot of those SPAC ads or those short films where you don't get paid, or those commercials where you're just doing it for the sake of creating. And especially in the beginning, that's going to happen a lot. And then with time, you're going to start figuring out your prices, how much you're going to charge, and then things are going to become more professional. But you should never lose track of that passion that got you started in the first place. I think it's fun because I work with you guys a lot. I've worked with you both multiple times separately, and then I introduced you guys and we worked together on stuff. Now you guys work together on stuff. And I'm in Brazil, so I'm in a whole different country, and I see you guys doing cool stuff together. I know, I'm like, yeah, just leave them there in the
We
third
miss
world.
you, we miss you.
I miss you guys, and it's so
Yeah.
cool how different you both are, but how you work together, how well you work together. And in my mind, I can personally relate more to what Emmanuel said with me, because my thought goes to the same things he was saying. I'm like, okay, if I'm doing way too much editing, I need to delegate that task to somebody else so that I can shine where I am better, so I can perform where my mind really is. At the same time, though, I get that feeling that Val was saying, where sometimes I'm making food and I have Italian music on, because like that's a sort of a way to create. You know, you can't lose that artist within you. You know, Emmanuel has always come from a more technical background, from what I see. Val has always come from a more artistic background. And this is not me trying to judge people. When you are a director, you naturally have to find out everyone's strengths and skills to put them in the right place. Or sometimes they will come to you and tell them where they want to be. Like Emmanuel was saying in the last episode with cinematography. And you just have to be open to like, all right, let's give this guy a shot. Let's see what he can do. And so those are super interesting things. For me personally, something really, really cool about what we do is that there's different, not only clients, but different stories to tell every month, every week, sometimes every day. A lot of times, every single day, you have a different story to tell. And I think that's super interesting. Because you're able to kind of refresh and restart your mind. You go back to zero and you start creating again. You go back to scratch and you start creating again. And each story is different. It's very unique. And especially if you put film in the middle of that, that's so important. And doing those free projects is what gets you going for those paid projects later on. You can't, you know, if you fully say, okay, no, for now, I hear that from a lot of people here in Brazil, more than in the U.S. Oh no, I don't leave my house for less than 1,000. All right, cool. Don't leave your house for less than 1,000. You're also not gonna get better because all the stuff you're doing is the same. You're setting up a 3-point lighting for an interview, and you're doing this same thing. It's becoming mechanical. It's becoming so technical. And you're losing the sense of that artistry from when you first started. And I don't know, personally, I think you're losing that creativity. And for me, if you're just looking at this from the side of profit, then you might as well be an investor in the stock market. You know what I mean? If this is all you're looking at, if you're only looking at money. So I think it's interesting for me personally to have a balance, to have both things, to keep that creative flame going and burning, or that muscle worked. And I think that is one good way. And one last thing I want to say, some people don't get that because they work in-house. So let's say you are a marketing person for this, I don't know, burger place or for this pizza place. Then you're only doing pizza commercials and you're only doing burger commercials. And you're shooting it that way and you're editing it that way and you're posting on social media and you're promoting it and you're doing these brainstorms. And there's only so much you can do. But for us, as we do different clients and as we have different projects going on all the time from different industries, different stories, genres, everything, I think we're able to stay creative the whole time, you know?
Yeah, yeah, and like literally, as I mentioned, like creativity can be expressed in any type of event, and us as a storytellers, as you know, video production people, we need to kind of step out of our own vision in order to be creative. Meaning, it's a product. You're not too related. You don't use that product, but you need to like get into the mindset in order to tell a good story, and that is a lot of giving up your own thoughts and everything, and just like not being afraid of see another spectrum of life in order to create something new. So for me, like having different clients, completely different projects that it also end up to having the tool of video is kind of great. Like honestly, recently I've been trying to get more into, you know, like if I can do something with the music industry, I would, or just the arts, or even myself putting out there. But I tell you, like I'm super creative with all the branding side, and I love to walk in a restaurant and see how perfect a menu can be, and like the whole experience of a place, and like in a second I'll be thinking of like, oh, I can make a video out of this. I could get that person as my client because I already love what they're doing with their creativity. So sometimes my creativity gets influenced by other perspective, and I just like step out of my comfort zone and see differently in order to create something even that satisfies me.
I think
But
my
it's like,
take, I think my take from it is be an entrepreneur. Know that you want to make money with this. Know that if this is what you want to do professionally, then do it. But don't lose track of what got you started in the first place. Because it was the passion for
Exactly.
creating. It was the passion for making this and for doing this. Otherwise, you would have done finance, you would have done business, you would have gone to the stock
Exactly.
market. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. There's a lot of people out there making a lot of money with that. But if you're here and if you're doing this and watching this, you're a creative like us, and that's where your core is. So don't lose track of that. Make as much money as you want to, and that's important. Like Emmanuel said, pay the bills, but keep in track what got you started in the first place. Val,
Yeah.
we're running out of time. Do you want to tell us the creative prompt, or do you guys want to? Is there anything you want to finish, Emmanuel, before we get into that?
I mean, you guys pretty much said everything. Just kind of try your best to stay creative, even though the more you go into it, there's more distractions. And yeah, I think you'll see a lot of fun in your career.
Yeah, stay out of your comfort zone, and you'll find a lot of things that will spark your genius. I think that's my take in that situation, because sometimes you open a door and then there's a whole world behind it. So that's kind of and just like work it out as you go to the gym, though. Like, don't think because you already have a point where you're not too amateur, but you're not professional. You don't get stuck on, I can do this well, because you need to practice. So, and technology is pretty wild. You guys know, like every year we face better technology, so it's not even you cannot put it aside for a while and be like, no, yeah, I already have a level that I like. No, I think there's way more to be explored.